Okay, so the next sheet is Becca, Kate, Brittany, Ryan, and Pippa. And they've gone. So here's their points basically. Too opinionated. Well, if what we say does not stand up to the benchmark of evidence, as we said from the beginning, then by all means that's an opinion. But if it does stand up to the benchmark of physically testable evidence and facts, then well, it's a fact and not an opinion. It's not an opinion that the world's round a sphere. It's not that's not an opinion. That's a fact, and you can prove it. So that's the difference. That's why we said, look, by all means, go check out what we said. In a sense, it's kind of ironic because we came there to basically convince you enough to just go and look at things and not actually convince you. Whereas a politician will walk up to your door and he'll say to you, hey, vote for me. And as soon as you've dropped your defences enough, say, oh, all right, I'll vote for you. He doesn't really care about you after that. He's got your vote ticked in the box. Thank you very much. Job's a good one. Not us. Not interested in you voting for things. You either understand this train of thought intrinsically or you don't. So it's not an opinion. To put it like that.
You could even add another level of abstraction to that and say that your opinion that I'm opinionated is an opinion. What makes your opinion that I'm opinionated valid? Show me your evidence. But I'm being facetious, but you get the idea.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one was hypocritical, all talk, no action so far. Well, in terms of action, if I were to build myself a nice little eco hut somewhere, but it still exists inside this particular system with all of its problems, then the chickens will come home to roost. You know, we don't live disconnected from our world. I do the best I can, but ultimately it's a train of thought that leads to all manifestations that we see around us, from our houses to our clothes to our cars to everything that sustains our way of life. And so therefore, if there is not this value shift, if there is not this train of thought that comes about, then the resource-based economy will quite simply never happen, and all of this is completely irrelevant. That's why the first change has to start with you, not someone else, because if you wait, well, I'll wait for the world to be on board with it, well, then it's not going to happen. That's the dichotomy of this that people have got to get round. Why are you waiting for everybody else anyway? Just have enough integrity to do enough research into it, and then if you see enough merit in the idea, sod what everybody else thinks. You know, it doesn't make any difference. It's either a testable, verifiable fact, or it isn't. That's what it is until new information comes along, and then new sets of facts come about. So I don't feel like I'm a hypocrite. And if I had loads of money in the bank out of this system, I'd get myself out of it. I'd get off the grid. I'd do all sorts of things. I wouldn't go out and buy myself a yacht and 5 Ferraris. You're not going to see me driving around in one of them anytime soon. So, because I've had this value shift and I just don't find I need them. So, good presentation, lots of information. Okay, glad you enjoyed it. Hopefully you found it useful. What little actions can we do to help?
We in capitals. Learn as much as you can about the way the current economic system works. Learn about non-violent non-participation. If you can, try not to take a loan from a major bank to be paid back at interest. If you have to take a loan, try and take it from a family member or a friend where you don't have to pay it back at interest. You could try and get off the grid if you want to reduce your
impact.
Yeah, your reliance on big supermarkets and mass-produced goods and things like this. All of them have energy efficiency built into their production.
And then there's also learn and contribute. This is the best thing that humanity has going for it. You know, people throughout history have always learned and then they've contributed what they've learned. That's how we've got the whole process of invention and creativity and growth in what we have, and technology, and all the wonderful things that make our life so much more bearable than just living in caves like we used to. So and that's really what has brought us to that sort of place. And what we're advocating here is a comprehensive train of thought. It's an integrated train of thought that takes into account many different interacting fields of study. So it's a more generalist point of view and how things actually interact, rather than what we have at the moment, which is specialization. So this, these people over in this field don't talk to people over in that field, and they don't see the connection between them, so they don't communicate because they've both got their own established institutions to protect. And it's that we need to attempt to overcome through a sort of systems theory way of thinking. A very brief example would be one of the Mississippi River is being polluted with nitrates that are running off of the topsoil of the farming practices that we have into the rivers, and killing the fish in those rivers. So with the systems theory approach, you say, well, we'll do vertical farming, so no more nitrates coming in there, and now we've got an abundance of food, and we're going to put in tidal generators at the bottom of the Mississippi River to basically not only provide energy for the people living on the side of the river, but at the same time, if you include a membrane in this design, you filter water through that then can either be used as clean drinking water for the people on the side of the bank, as well as watering the hydroponic food farm facility that you've got there as well as cleaning the water of the nitrates and filtering them out in there, so that you're not poisoning your fish anymore. So now you've got fish, clean drinking water, less water used on your food, no poisoning of the nitrates. But the tidal generator guy may not see a profit in putting those in the Mississippi River, just as the farmer may not see a profit in the hydroponic food farms. So it's not going to happen. Because your system's not comprehensive, your system's not joined up. People talk about joined up thinking. It doesn't exist. It's never existed until now, and it still won't exist unless we actually have that comprehensive train of thought, one that actually joins the dots together and sees the systems theory approach to planetary management. So, a religion that doesn't use contraception, that's a statement obviously, but then you've put down Catholic and Protestant contraception against their beliefs. Well, really, and in that particular thing comes from an ancient perception of what it means to have human life. So basically, what they used to see is that sperm was human life, and that when you spilled sperm, you are spilling human life. This is the issue with regards to masturbation in the church, and why they don't like it, because they view you as you are spilling God's seed. That is what they drew from their totally unscientific understanding that life, of course, doesn't start that way. It starts when it fuses, with the egg, and so on and so forth. So you can see that this is a massively outdated thing that can only continue to be perpetuated through a lack of education, through a lack of understanding, because the evidence has been there for ages that this isn't the case. So these people need to be informed. They need to be informed that this is not the case.
Yeah, it's important to qualify as well the difference between a belief and the real world tangible effect that belief has on the real world that we all have to live in. So while it may not be savoury to criticise someone's beliefs, what you cannot do in that same logic is segregate the real world effects that their beliefs have from criticism as well. So if condom use in Africa could prevent AIDS, or could reduce the number of people contracting AIDS, reduce the spread of the HIV virus, that's a real world effect. It doesn't matter what the Pope's position is, it has to be measured by the merit of its real world effect, and it has to be subject to criticism. So that's my answer.
And of course, there's other belief systems that go into this as well. Believe what you like. No one can stop you what you're believing anyway. And not something I'd want to do. But if that's going to have a negative impact on someone else, I'm sorry, it's going to have to be questioned. You can't go around killing people every time someone draws a picture of your prophet. Your prophet Muhammad, and then going around and killing people because of it. That's It's not how we're going to reach collaborative values on this planet. It's just not going to happen that way. Religion had 2,000 years to do it, and it hasn't managed to do it, because you're bringing people around something they'll never agree on because it's based in faith. Whereas with regards to what shape the planet is, everybody agrees on that now, because there's no way of denying it. And that's what we're talking about, is we bring that further forward. It's basically time for people to put the better attributes of their religious dispositions into practice. That's really all we're talking about. So by all means, be religious, but if we're actually going to meet human needs on this planet, it's not going to come by praying. Sorry. So yeah, I think that's us done with this particular sheet. I hope that gave you guys something, and look forward to seeing you soon when we bring the exhibition to the school. Cheers.